Good morning, everyone. We'll get started shortly here. We're just waiting for people to roll in. It's about 9:58. We'll give it a couple of more minutes, then we'll get going. Thanks for attending.
All right, there we go. There we go. Sorry about that, Bo. Staff
No,
meeting.
you're good. Good morning, Doug. We're just waiting for more people to roll in. They're rolling in as we speak, so give it a couple more minutes and we'll get started.
Perfect. Let's go with that. Beautiful, beautiful. Perfect.
Good morning again, everyone. We're going to get started here in a couple of minutes. I see people rolling in here as we speak, so we'll give them a chance to get on here and then we'll get started. All right, it's about 2 after 10. Doug, I think we can get started. Hi, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Bo Zivak. I am the Director of Business Development here at Benchmark. I know there's some attendees from other companies, not just Benchmark. So I just wanted to tell you who I was. And today we'll be talking about SmartDollar and how it applies towards eliminating debt. Debt is a scary word, but if you work at it, if you use the tools that are within SmartDollar, you can get rid of it. I won't talk too much. We have Doug Westover here from SmartDollar. He is the SmartDollar guru, and he's going to be talking to us about debt today. So Doug, thank you for coming on and giving us a lesson on how to kick the debt to the curb today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Bo. And you're right. Like, it is a scary word, although the great majority of us and our nation don't mind getting into what 200 million, trillion, billion, bazillion dollars worth of debt these days, right? It's something that a lot of people treat like the neighborhood stray dog. You know, it comes around at the back door. I'll feed it a little bit, not really get really rid of it off my property. Just kind of lingering in my life. It'll go away eventually. But what we want to do is we want to be proactive, because your ability, one of the biggest blockers to your ability to build and stockpile wealth, is the amount of money that's going out the door every month. And a big part of that equation is debt. So we are going to be talking about how to completely remove debt from our life and keep it out of our life so that it never goes back again. Some of you may be, you have probably joined us in previous week's sessions, but I always like to start these presentations off with just a baseline. Let's talk about reality. Let's talk about what's going on in the country today. And the stat of the day that I want to hit you guys with is this one right here, that 40%, almost half of American families are spending up to half of their income on debt. That sucks, guys. It is not fun. So I want you to imagine, I know that we're in real estate, right? So there's not like a baseline every single month, but I want you to imagine your usual, or maybe just like an average monthly take home for you, right? And then I want you to cut that number in half, because half of it is going to go towards debt. That's what you have to work with, right? There's your food, there's your needs, your entertainment, there's your I guess your gym membership is left in there. There's putting towards savings is left in there. Not a lot is left if you're one of the 40% of American families who half of their income is going towards debt. That is the reality for a lot of people in this country. And you know, this old saying still rings true today, that your intention to do something is not the same thing as your ability to do that thing. I mean, heck, if all it took were good ideas and good thoughts in our head and good intentions, we would all eat less, we would weigh less, and we would spend less if all it took were good intentions. But we know that that's not true. And so where that all starts with this thing called a plan. Because if you don't have a plan for whatever goal or milestone you're trying to achieve, it's probably not going to happen. So around here, the plan that we have been teaching for the past 30 years, again, there's my need a plan slide, has been called the 7 baby steps. That is the plan that we have been teaching for over 3 decades to millions of families in the country. And so if you have joined us for previous sessions, you know these 7 baby steps by now. But for those of you who are new, first of all, welcome. Second of all, we're going to go through the 7 steps right now. Baby steps 1, 2, and 3 are all centered on having emergency funds, having some cash in savings, and then also getting debt out of your life, which is what we're going to focus on today. So I'm not going to go too in depth to number 2 right now, because we're about to hit that. But number 1 and 3, it's all about having some wiggle room, all about having some cushion in your month and in your life. One of the worst feelings I know from personal experience, my wife and I, when we got married, we combined finances, and there was $140,000 worth of student loans. The minimum payment on our student loans every month was $2,000 minimum. At the end of every month, I remember saying things to her like, now if something unexpected happens to us, I honestly don't know what we're going to do, because we just don't have it. Nowadays, because we did work hard at that and we are completely debt-free today, what we say to each other is, hey, if something happens that we're not expecting, this family is going to be just fine. Being able to say that is largely due to baby steps 1 and 3. It's having some wiggle room, some cash in your savings account for you to handle the storms that life is going to throw at you, because life does happen and we're not always in charge, and we can't always dictate when and where life happens to us. So baby steps 1, 2, and 3, all about putting into savings, all about getting out of debt. Baby steps 4, 5, and 6, usually, I'll use that as an average, usually happen around the same time in somebody's life. Because you're debt free, we want you to put 15% into retirement. We love a Roth because it grows tax free, but there's a limit. So once you max that out, go traditional 401k. 15%, do that consistently over a long period of time, and you're going to have an amazing future. If it applies for you, baby step 5, save for your kids' college fund. And then baby step 6, nobody goes into retirement and they're saying things like, man, I just can't wait to retire so I can continue paying off my mortgage. That doesn't sound like a very fun retirement life. So we want you to pay off that home early. And you can do that when you manage your behavior and you live below your means and you have a plan. It's a very real possibility, even in today's market. Usually when someone calls into the Ramsey show and they do their debt-free scream, that typically includes the mortgage. So that's a very real possibility. You walk into your home and you own it, not the bank. You keep that mortgage payment because that sucker is 100% paid off. That's the kind of life that we have been taking families to for the past 30 years. And then baby step 7, we teach the 7 baby steps so that we can be a generous people, so that we can reach across the street and absolutely change the life of a neighbor, or we can absolutely bless one of our family members who's in a tough spot. That is why we teach what we teach, so that we can live and give like nobody else can. So that's the 7 baby steps. And to answer this question, what is SmartDollar? Well, SmartDollar is a collection of tools to help you live these 7 steps out, because you can have all the good intention in the world, but if you don't have tools to help you turn that good intention into reality, it's probably not going to happen. So we've got Every Dollar, our budgeting app, to help you budget and get rid of debt and put into your savings and live below your means. We've also got trackers and planners and calculators for those emergency funds and for your retirement and for your mortgage. There's also the ability to hop on a Zoom call or get a recording of a call with a financial coach and just have an honest conversation about what's going on in your life and what you need to do to reach your next milestone. Those are just some examples of the tools inside of SmartDollar. It's absolutely fantastic. And a lot of you have already been using those tools, taking advantage of those tools. We got a little bit of debt paid off. We got some adding to savings already. So at the end of today's conversation, there'll be a link and a QR code for you to sign up and create an account. But I want to go ahead and get into kind of the heart of today's conversation, which is how to manage and, more importantly, eliminate for good debt, right? How do I get that $700 a month auto loan back in my pocket, right? How do I get that student loan out of my life? Well, this is how you do it, right? It's going to start with these 4 things that you can do, right? 4 things that you can go and start doing today. And this is going to be the first of those 4 things. Get on a budget, right? A lot of people have, speaking of negative words, right? That budgeting is also one of those words that people have this kind of like, ew, reaction to, right? A budget is negative. It's restricting. It's telling me what to do. Look, let's just be honest. We're all adults here. One of the main reasons that we don't bother to make a budget is because we're a little nervous about what we might uncover when we do start making a budget. Okay, can I just say that? Can we all just be honest with each other? That's why people don't budget, because they know probably being irresponsible with the Starbucks or the Amazon, or in my case, the Chick-fil-A, whatever it may be. So here's what we want to do. We want to get on a budget today, and that's actually really easy to do. Last week we did an in-depth dive of all the ins and outs of budgeting, but we'll kind of hit this really, really quick. Budgeting starts with just writing down your monthly take home and then writing down your expenses. And that's really it. It's just making sure that every single penny that you earn has a destination. It's really not rocket science. It's just making sure that every dollar has a home. That's why our budgeting app is called Every Dollar, because that's exactly what we want you to do. Now, you've noticed in this fake budget here that we have $400 that we just don't know what to do with. What we do is we go back, we figure out whatever baby step we're on, and we will apply that to that baby step so that we truly do have a zero balanced budget. So if I'm on baby step 1 and I'm working towards $1,000, well, then this extra $400 is not going to go towards Top Golf. It's not going to go towards extra coffee. It's going to go towards my goal. And so you go back, you look at the 7 baby steps, figure out which one you're on. That's the one that my extra money is going to go toward. And now all of a sudden, I have a zero balanced budget. This is the budget that we want you to have when you sit down and budget. Every single dime is accounted for. Now, I will say, because we did say this in previous sessions, because we're in real estate, right? It's probably a good idea for all of you to have what we would call a bad month fund. Okay, now here's what I mean by this. Let's say there's a month where just, business is really slow. The economy is kind of tough right now. It's not one of your more lucrative months, right? It's not a lot of, I guess, leads in the pipeline, whatever verbiage is going to resonate with you guys. You guys know what I'm trying to say, right? You have a slow month coming up. It's probably a good idea every single month to put a little bit aside in a separate savings account that's called a bad month fund. I don't want you to use your emergency fund for just having a bad month in sales, because that emergency fund is going to be used for things like something's wrong with the car, or something's wrong with the family. There's something medical that popped up. There's something wrong with the AC, the roof, whatever it is, right? A true emergency that puts the family in danger. That's what the emergency fund is used for. So it's probably a good idea when you sit down and budget to put a little bit aside for a bad month. And if you want to put a cap on that, like, hey, my bad month fund is built for, I don't know, 3-4 consecutive months, that's really up to you. But that would keep you from just having one extra monthly payment every single month of the year into a bad month fund. So that's my recommendation, because we're, commission, irregular income. And I will say this, there's also some tools inside of SmartDollar for you to download to help you navigate an irregular income kind of lifestyle. That can be found in Money Tools in your SmartDollar account. So check that out. If you want something hard copy for you to put pen and numbers and calculator to, there's some downloadable tools inside of SmartDollar for irregular income. All right, moving on, because there are 4 things that we can start doing today. The other one is this: start your emergency fund today, right? One of the things that will happen to people and families as they start this journey is they're going to start getting out of debt. They're going to start making extra on those payments, get those student loans out of their life, and something's going to happen with the car. It's going to be an alternator. It's going to be the tires. And now you're forced to make a decision. Well, do I, keep paying off debt, or do I stop that, somehow, put this on my card, go further into debt just to take care of the AC or the roof or whatever it is? Emergency funds are there to prevent us from going further into debt. Now, I do want to talk about baby step 1 in particular, having $1,000 as an emergency fund. This is enough to cover those little small, annoying little emergencies that life might throw at you. This is not enough for like a new transmission, okay? So here's what I want to say about baby step 1. Baby step 1, having $1,000 as an emergency fund, it's the real power of baby step 1 is really mental. It's to get you in the right mindset of, I am someone who saves. If you've ever played sports, you know this to be true. Sometimes you just need to get a point on the scoreboard to mentally keep yourself in the game, right? If you don't experience small wins along the way, we're human, and we're prone to just saying, never mind, I'm not going to go as hard in the paint as I need to. I'll just kind of write it out and just take my time through this thing. That's not what I want for you. All right. So baby step 1, having $1,000 as an emergency fund it is going to put you in the right mental state that you need to be in to identify as someone who I am a saver. I am someone who saves, and I'm someone who's prepared for emergencies. That's the real power of baby step one. So I want you to have that in your life, that just little extra nugget of security, that mental de-stressor in your life of having just a little thing to take care of small emergencies. That's a big deal. And that's part of getting out of debt, because this is going to prevent you from going further into debt just to buy a new tire. Now, here's the big one, right? This is the third thing that you can start doing today, the debt snowball. This is our method for paying off debt. And it's really quite simple. What I want you to do is I want you to line up all of your debts from smallest to largest. And in this example, I've got what? I've got 3 credit cards. I've got almost 20 grand on what's sitting in the driveway. And then I've got 45 in student loans. Okay. So we're going to make minimum payments on everything across the board. This is how the snowball works. Minimum payments on everything, and Doug's going to learn how to operate his slide correctly. So we're going to do this again, right? Minimum payments on everything. There we go. But for the smallest one, you'll notice there's a huge stack of cash. All right. Going back to our little budget that we created, this is that extra $400, right? That didn't have a home, that we didn't know what to do with. We're on baby step 2. I'm making minimum payments on everything, but I am going to really attack that smallest debt with a vengeance, right? I'm going to treat it like it's trying to take my life from me. And when that happens, here's the real snowball effect, right? When I start making progress, when I start paying things off, you're going to see this start to happen. And you're going to see my slide just completely replay over and over and over again. So let me manually go to the next slide. There we go. I'm going to pay that first debt off, okay, with my huge stack of cash. Now, what you do next is really the secret sauce to all of this. You're just simply going to move that stack of cash over to the next debt. Here, there we go, right? And then when I pay that off, I'm going to move that over. And all those monthly payments, my fist, if I'm punching debt in the face, every time I go to throw a punch, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Let's watch that animation again, right? Well, there we go. Yeah, every time I pay off a debt, I'm simply going to transfer what I have been paying on the previous debt to the new one. And you see our ability, our payments are going to get bigger and bigger every single time. Step 4, let me actually go back to there. Sorry, guys, I don't know why my my PowerPoint is having trouble with animations today. Let me go down, here we go. But yeah, I want you to watch this just a couple more times, right? I'm paying a ton of things on that smallest debt, but when I pay that off, I'm simply going to roll that payment over. I'm going to combine onto the next one. And your ability to get out of debt actually speeds up, right? It speeds up every single debt that you have. It's just going to speed up. So that's the snowball, right? It's basically snowballing your payments. Once a debt is paid off, you snowball that into the other, because you're making minimum payments on everything. You're going to snowball that onto the next one. And that's exactly what my wife and I did. We had $140K worth of student loans, minimum payments on all those little loans, attacked the smallest one. And then, we looked up one day, and that little debt worth 10 grand has been paid off. And so that's just going to snowball right into the next, the second smallest debt. And before you know it, you look up and you're completely debt free. That's how the snowball works. Now, the fourth thing is I want to talk about our mentality before we hop off. This is something that, depending on how much debt you're bringing to the table, could take you 12 months, could take you 36 months, right? It's completely dependent, but that's kind of the average, anywhere from a year to almost a little shy of 3 years for the average person to pay off every single debt in their life. In the grand scheme of things, 3 years, it's really not that long of a time, right? You blink and it goes by. But in the moment, it can be so hard to keep yourself motivated. It can be so hard to keep yourself going. For my wife and I, um, it was really just a picture of, this is going to sound so cheesy, but hear me out. We had sat down together one evening, and we just we're not artists at all, but we sat there at our kitchen table one night and we drew a picture of what we visualized our future family looking like. It was us and 3 kids. Now we've got 1 kid already, so we're still missing 2, right? We need 2 more. But it was us and 3 kids owning our own home, and we were completely debt free, and our kids did not know a life of debt. Now, I grew up in a household where there was a lot of debt, and mom and dad would say things like, hey, we actually can't do that, or things are really rough. We're going to have to go without this month. And growing up was kind of hard. Both of us, both my wife and I, we had that kind of childhood, and we sat there and we drew a picture of what we wanted. The point that I'm trying to make is find something to keep yourself motivated throughout your journey. Sometimes, look, the light is at the end of the tunnel, but sometimes it's just a little, that light seems so far away. Whether it's a picture or a phrase or some sort of mental image that you need to put on your refrigerator or your desk at work or on the dashboard of your car hanging from the rearview mirror, whatever it is that keeps you motivated, find something, find anything to keep you in this game. Because sometimes, like I said, you just need some small wins to mentally keep yourself focused on a much larger prize that might not be, instantaneous, right? It's delayed gratification. We as people can have a hard time with delayed gratification sometimes. So find a way to keep yourself focused. And I just want to give you some encouragement. I had pulled a couple examples of some SmartDollar people who got SmartDollar through their employer, and hear their stories. The Gold family is awesome. They came here not too long ago to do their debt-free scream. They paid off $54,000 in just a little under a year. They had a little bit of everything, auto payments, credit card. I think it was she that had a little bit of student loans. So they kind of had the kitchen sink. They turned a phrase that we have around here at Ramsey, rice and beans and beans and rice. We say that when you're on baby step 2, because that's usually the cheapest thing to buy at the grocery store, right? It's just having beans and rice for dinner when you're trying to get out of debt. They actually took that and they started making that a side hustle, right? And they found a way to actually sell beans and rice to local communities. And so that was an extra source of income for them every single month. It wasn't much, but it was something fun to kind of keep themselves, again, motivated and in this fight for a year. So look, and what I love about this photo is it's not just mom and dad whose futures are changed. It's those 2 awesome kiddos by their sides, right? They're not going to know a house of debt now because of the hard work of mom and dad. So Gold family, 54 grand in 12 months, knocked it out. They're completely debt free. Jonathan is an awesome SmartDollar user who, because he became debt free, he was able to cash flow a vacation to Hawaii. I don't know many people who are not on the 7 baby steps who are able to just cash flow a vacation to Hawaii. Usually that's going to go on somebody's credit card, but not Jonathan, because he's debt free, right? He's not living that kind of lifestyle of accumulating and piling up debt and loans. Vacation to Hawaii, I'll pay for it in cash. What a life. And that's exactly what I want for you guys, right? I want to put you in the position to cash flow these awesome vacations and not go into debt just to get some relaxation. The Brown family, this picture was actually taken right outside here in Nashville, Tennessee, when they did their debt-free scream. They paid off 62 grand in 27 months. Single income family, they can do this, right? It was just like the Gold family, a little bit of everything. A credit card, car, student loans. She has student loans. And so 62 grand, 27 months, 3 kids who are not going to know a family of debt. And they're able to do things now that they have not been while they were in debt. So just 3 quick user stories, recent user stories that I want to encourage you guys with. This is absolutely possible. You do not have to live a life where you are keeping debt around like it's the neighborhood stray dog. Again, just to recap, right? Things that you can start doing today. You don't need to wait to the weekend or tomorrow. Number one, get on a budget. All right. Income first, expenses, make sure that every single penny has a home. Have $1,000 as an emergency fund. This is going to cover small little annoying emergencies that life is going to throw at you. And it's also going to get you in the right mindset. I am someone who saves, right? You're going to have a feeling of, I can do this. Look what I just did, $1,000. I can do this. The debt snowball. Line up all your debts, smallest to largest, ignore the interest rate. You're going to make minimum payments on every single debt. Attack the smallest with a vengeance. And when that sucker is paid off, whatever you were paying on that stack of debt, that stack of cash on that debt, you're simply going to move over to the next debt. That's how the snowball works until you're debt free. And then 4 is focus. Whether it's a friend or a family member or someone who's going to keep you motivated, whether it's one of the coaches inside of SmartDollar that you can team up with, whether it's in our case, a picture on your fridge that was poorly drawn one night on a kitchen table. Find some way to keep yourself in the game. Again, one of the biggest blockers to your ability to build wealth is what's going out the door every month. And often that's debt. So I know that was a ton of words. So what I do want to do is I want to make sure that I put this QR code and the keyword up on the screen. If you have not already made a SmartDollar account and gotten all these tools on your phone, please do so today. Join the party. So many of you have already done this, but maybe there's someone who has yet to join. Now I see we've got some comments, questions in the chats. Awesome. Your leaders have put some comments in there for the keyword, and then you can reach out to Bo. Let me scan through. All right, perfect. So if anyone has any questions about, gosh, anything under the sun, personal finances, budgeting, debt, family and budgeting, family and finances, really anything that is money related, I want to give you guys the opportunity to put those in the chat or to ask questions now. I know that was a ton of words, so thanks for sticking with me, guys. Anything at all?
While people are thinking about questions, Doug, go back to the initial statement that debt is a scary word. I think for me, it was scary because a couple of years ago, when I was going through my budgeting, I didn't want to do it because I had to face the consequences of realizing that I'm spending more than I'm earning. So that was kind of, just getting over that hurdle was a big accomplishment. And then once you get in there and you actually, this is on a separate note, get in SmartDollar and use every dollar. When you're in there trimming expenses, it can get addicting. There's a lot of things in there that I have cut out personally that I had no idea would make such a big difference. And one of those things was, and I tell this all the time, is my YMCA membership. I had a family plan, but I was the only one going, and it was $120 and now it's 65. So, that's doesn't sound like it's a lot of money, but you put $65 towards paying off other things, and then that snowball effect takes full effect.
Yeah. And just as when you said that, you're now in control of when and where you spend your money, right? Your money doesn't control you, but you control your money. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It's putting you in the driver's seat, and those little changes that you're going to find, they're going to add up. And before you know, the average person, the statistic is when a family budgets for the very first time, on average, they find about 300 extra bucks that they didn't even know existed, right? And I think I've said this in past sessions, but if you don't know where your money's going, at the end of the month, you're going to wonder where it went, right? It is going to walk off from you. It's going to leave if you don't tell it where to go. Trey has said, what is the app we download to our phone? Is it the Ramsey Plus bundle? Really good question. So the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to use either the QR code or the URL link and your keyword United Real Estate. That's going to get you in the door, in the SmartDollar door for free. If you try to go to the App Store first and make a download, our system is not going to know that you're someone who gets this for free, right? The only way that we know that you get it for free is if you use that QR code, or rather the keyword at that special link. Trey, once you have used that, once you make a SmartDollar account, you can then go into, all right, perfect. He's already got an online account. So yeah, Trey, it is actually going to be Every Dollar. That's the app that you want to download. It's going to be the one in green. Every Dollar is the one that SmartDollar users are going to need to download.
Doug, I just want to mention that I started using this as well, and I'm super excited because I'm tracking things that I didn't even know they were there. So I truly encourage people just to try it because it will open your eyes. I'm super excited because my husband and I were talking this weekend about planning a trip for next year and paying cash for it. So I'm actually adding that in. And it will cost us about $10,000 and we want to pay cash on it. So super excited about it.
I love that. And that's so much easier when you don't have this little payment nipping at your ankle every single month, or this little payment, or this little payment, or this little payment, right? All those little debts. When you just say, look, the house is closed, you're not welcome here, then you can start cash flowing some things. So I love that so much, Kim.
Thanks.
All right. Any questions? Budgeting, debt, anything under the sun, the tools in SmartDollar. I will say this as we wait for some more questions to roll in. There are some tools inside SmartDollar to help you see, okay, given my current budgeting and spending and saving habits, when am I going to become debt free? It's called a financial roadmap, and that's actually found inside of Every Dollar. It factors in everything that you're doing with budgeting and everything that you're going to be doing and your payments that you're making on all your debts. And it will tell you, here's what age you can expect to become debt free. Here's what age you can expect to have 3 to 6 months of emergency funds saved up. So please utilize that tool, Financial Roadmap, to help you see, when am I going to hit those little wins along the way? That's a huge resource that my wife and I use every single time we sit down to budget. And it hasn't come up yet, but in past sessions, I do want to say just a little thing about privacy, right? I can't see what anybody budgets. Bo can't see what anybody budgets. I don't see anyone's debt amount or how much debt you've got hiding in your life. None of your leadership team can see any of that kind of stuff. That is completely private, and only you can see that. The only thing that I can see and your leadership team can see is when you do pay off debt and you report it inside of SmartDollar, right? We see a collective amount. So I don't see that John has paid off 10 grand and Sally has paid off 5. I just see that collectively the company, right, has paid off 15, if I'm sticking with the same example, right? That's the only thing we see is some sort of collective total so that we can celebrate you guys. And that's the only thing that we can see. So any privacy concerns that you guys have, what you enter in and all your financials is totally yours. It's not ours. I can't see any bit of that. Emma says, please provide a UR address also to download the app. So SmartDollar will not be in the App Store. That's web-based. But once you have made a SmartDollar account, then go to Every Dollar. And that's just found if you have an iPhone, it's going to be the Apple App Store, or if you have Android, I think it's Google Play, right? All right, let's see. Is there a function or plan for how to add a business budget to the system? Since our income is also funding our business, I would like to learn to do Not to rob Peter, just to pay Paul. Okay, yeah, I gotcha. So Annette, here's what I would do, right? So when you are in every dollar, you can have one budget for 1 month. And that can be a little tricky when if I'm walking in your shoes and really I need two budgets, for one for personal and one for business. The best that I can tell inside of our system, what I would do is I would actually use online every dollar for either personal or business. And then I would download those little budgeting sheets that are inside of SmartDollar, and I would use that as either my business or my personal. Inside of SmartDollar, not yet, we can't have two separate budget sheets for the same month. But if you download and take advantage of, the old fashioned way, that the downloadable PDFs, then you can have both one digital and one hard copy. But that is something that we hear all the time. And so hopefully, I don't know when, but hopefully we'll have that functionality in the future. Anonymous says, where can I find the financial roadmap feature? So that's actually inside of every dollar. So once you're inside SmartDollar, you'll see a section called Money Tools. Every dollar lives inside of Money Tools. And then once you're in every dollar, you'll see financial roadmap over on the left-hand side. All right. We got a couple of thank yous. Oh, thank you guys so much. I'm an average person out in the community. I'm not a genius. I don't have this huge income. I'm just some guy who helped his family get on a plan, and it's completely changed our life. And that's what we want for you guys. All right, good stuff, guys. All right, any other questions?
Hey, Doug, I'll just mention something real quick. This is our third session this month, Doug. So we had planned 4 sessions for June, and then the same sessions are going to repeat in July. And every session is different, guys. Paying off debt is just one aspect of SmartDollar. Doug mentioned earlier in the call that SmartDollar is think of it as a toolbox. And then you've got a bunch of different tools to help you to get from point A to point Z within that system. So the next session is on June 19th, which is next Monday. It is going to be a different topic. I'm going to drop in a link for you guys to sign up if you want to. I highly suggest you guys attend these calls and just get in the system itself and play around, because there's a lot of good features in there. One of the things that I've found very helpful was the coaching sessions, Doug. I think the coaching sessions, those are group coaching sessions where you can log in as yourself or anonymous and ask any questions you may have pertaining to the topic. And if you can't be there live in person or live in Zoom, if you will, as long as you register for that session, they'll send you a recorded version of it so you can watch it at a later time. And correct me if I'm wrong, Doug, but I think that's a $250 value that's free to everybody that signs up.
Yeah, out in the marketplace, you would get charged anywhere from $200 to $300 to have like an hour session with a financial coach, over Zoom or at their office. And so everyone who's on this call, you can just schedule one for free. And like Bo said, if you can't make it during that time slot, just register and we'll send you something to listen to on the way home from work or on the way into work, wherever it is that you're going. One of the things that we have found and why coaching is so impactful is that, things just change when you add an extra layer of accountability in your life. Like when you get the personal trainer, or you insert that third party into the equation to keep you motivated and to keep you honest on doing the things that you said you were going to do. That's a game changer. So yeah, I'll absolutely echo that. Check that feature out. There's a ton of cool stuff happening inside of every dollar with, I know I said financial roadmap, but there's a cool thing happening there too. The other thing, if it applies to you, right, if you have got some student loans lingering, or maybe you're a parent of someone who's approaching kind of that college age, check out the special called Borrowed Future inside of SmartDollar. That's over in our Learn section. There's a ton of things that you can watch, read, and listen to kind of, I guess, educate you, or lack of better words, or just kind of change the way that maybe you were taught about finances in the past. That lives over in there. And then all your tools and calculators and planners and anything that would help you go and do something, right? That lives inside Money Tools. So those are two sections inside of SmartDollar: Learn and then Money Tools, that are going to play a big part in your month to month when you sit down and do your finances. But yeah, next week we are going to be doing a deep dive on savings, when to save, how to save, what are some good vehicles to save. A really good question: when do I pause saving? When do I, when do I focus on other things besides saving? We're going to talk about all of that next week. Right. I don't see any new questions. Bo, any last instructions on where can I go if they want to rewatch this later on? Where would they go to get the recording of today's call?
So, Kimberly, where are these recordings going to be hosted? Are we going to send out an email, or do people have access to the recordings on the Dash?
So once we receive the recordings, Gus will get them uploaded on the Dash, but Kate, it goes through Kate. So it's kind of a process, but once they're out there, we'll notify everybody. Kate, you want to add something?
Yeah, it takes us a day or so to get it turned around and uploaded. And then you can go to the Dash and then click on Agent Resources and SmartDollar. And there's a category to access SmartDollar, and there's a category to access these recordings.
Perfect.
Perfect. We do have one question rolling in. This is going to be a really fun question. Do you recommend getting a 0% interest rate credit card while doing the snowball? So here's what I'll say about that, right? The first thing is there's usually a time limit on that 0% interest rate, right? Or if you go over your balance, then you get hit with a really big one, right? There's a lot of, you got to read the fine print on those things. And the other thing, and the reason why I would say no to this question, is because we generally, as every study that we've ever done shows, you just spend more when you have a credit card in your possession. You just do. You know why? Because the punishment is delayed, or the pain of spending isn't immediately felt. Like when I go to use my debit card at the grocery store, I can immediately see, oh, that money just came out, right? Maybe I should cool it. Maybe I should calm down a little bit. But if I use a credit card, I just swipe and I just swipe and I just swipe, and it seems like the punishment for overspending is not happening to me. So let's spend a little bit more, right? I don't really feel that psychologically. So that's why I would not use a 0% interest rate when doing the snowball. Focus one date at a time, work the snowball. You're gonna get there. Be the tortoise, not the hare. The thought is to do balance transfer, not to use it for other things. I would still say no. We're really weary on just having those things in your life. There's a reason why they will market it at 0% interest, just to get it in the front door of your life, because they know eventually we'll get them, right? I guarantee you no one at credit card headquarters is sitting around saying, oh, I wonder, you know what, guys, we should do what's best for Sally, or we should do what's best for John out there. Let's have their best interests at heart. They don't have that. So anytime there's a threat, something that wants to ruin your finances, as credit cards often do, I just don't want it in your life. I'd just rather you not even entertain that and say, sorry, move on to the next household. This one's not for you. So I would still say no for that, anonymous.
I'll mention, go back to the recordings and all that for the Pearson and Smith and Charles Ruttenberg. We'll email you guys the recorded session as soon as it's ready. I know the dash and all that means nothing to you, but rest assured you will have a recording emailed to you as soon as it's ready.
All right, any other questions? We'll do a final call. We're heading to like the last 10 minutes of this hour, so we'll go ahead and do a final call for questions. All right, going once, going twice, and I will officially hand it back over to Bo.
Thank you, Doug. I appreciate you taking your time to talk to us today, and everybody that was on the call and currently is on the call. Thank you so much for attending. Like I said, the next session is on June 19th. It's at the same time, 10 o'clock in the morning. The link to sign up is in the chat. The link to enroll is in chat as well. My contact information is in there also, so if you're having issues or any general questions. The last thing I'll just mention is that this is an absolutely free tool to you guys to use, and it was a north of $50,000 investment on behalf of United to give this tool to our agents. We get nothing from it. There's no selling within the actual SmartDollar itself. You will not be pitched anything. So this is solely for your benefit. So please at least get in there and look around. If you are completely debt-free, there's another aspect to that that's coming soon, where you can invest money into other options, not just paying down debt and retirement. So there's more to that coming, but there's a lot of educational videos in there, a lot of good stuff that you can take advantage of. So please just log in, take a look around, and I'm sure you'll find something that's going to be of benefit to you. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Doug. And I'll go ahead and end the call if there's no more questions.
All right. Thanks, everyone.